Hey folks, this is Wistful Deal here, and I just got back from seeing Zootopia 2, fellas. Zootopia 2. It was obvious I was definitely gonna see this one, either last week or this coming week, because I have been waiting for this film and everything. So firstly and obviously, is it good? Yes, it's good. And secondly, yes, I am a goddamn furry. There's a reason my persona or internet character, whatever, if you will, is a little deer, okay? I love deer. They're like my favorite animals, alright? So I'm definitely a freaking furry, and a brony too, but more furry. But anyway, so this was one of the films that I have been more interested in and actually seeing, not just, not just like, okay, I guess that could be interesting. More of like, all right, let's see where this goes. Because I really liked the first one. Funny enough, I didn't see the first one until like years later. I was like 18 or 19, whatever, and I was like, oh shit, it came out back in 2016 or whatever. It's definitely been a huge minute, and I really liked it. I really liked Zootopia 1. Zootopia was great and everything. It's one of the films that I really like and everything. And this one, Zootopia 2, it was pretty good. I really liked it, honestly. There's obviously some new characters and such and everything. So, to break it down, right? Because I can't really help myself to not get into too much detail without spoilers. So, overall, I will say that if you liked the first one, like if you like loved the first one and really liked it, I'd say you're probably gonna like this one too. There's definitely some new interesting elements. It's pretty good. The animation is somehow even better. I know animation isn't like the biggest thing. Well, it kind of is, but like looks on everything. But like it's like I swear I don't know how it is, but it's the same thing with video games. I swear to God, where it's like somehow it's even bigger and better in some sense, and even more prettier and everything, which is always interesting because the first Zootopia, right, Zootopia 1 back in 2016, it holds up pretty darn well with what it holds. And then with this one here, it's even more prettier and everything, more detail. But yeah, the story, honestly, I really like the story. The characters were good and everything. There's this new Beaver character. She's like a conspiracy theorist kind of, Beaver, which I kind of grew into because I'm like, you know what? Okay, all right, we'll stick with Miss Beaver here. I completely forgot her name. I don't know her name. There's this stallion, this horse, voiced by Patrick Warburton, or as I know him as the guy that always goes, "Hey Peter" in Family Guy. That voices Joe. Or it could be he's also the same guy that was in the B movie and the same one that did Ian in open season, that big giant deal that would call Elliot Smelliot, and how he would joke around with Elliot, bully him and stuff and everything, and how Ian's this big huge buck stag and shit. Yeah, that was also voiced by Patrick Warburton. Oh god, open season, man. Oh jeez, such a stupid film. I love it for all the wrong reasons, but oh my god. But anyway, I'm back to Zootopia here. So it's overall good. I would say if you definitely liked it, if you definitely liked the first one, go. I would definitely recommend the second one. The sequel here. I would say you'll definitely love it. But all right, now time to get into spoilers. Because that's kind of the best that I can do here. So overall, pretty good film. I'm curious to know what you folks think of it. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out because we are gonna get into spoilers now, folks. So obviously, right, since I did the not the teaser trailer, but I reacted to the trailer back in like what August or something, I think, of this year, earlier this year. it had to be in August, but yeah, when that came out and stuff, it looked interesting. And my main theory was that the snake guy, I think his name's Gary or whatever, like SpongeBob's pet Gary or whatever. There's also a SpongeBob film coming out, but I'm just like, whatever. I'm kind of overdone with SpongeBob, honestly. Like, just let it die, please. Just let SpongeBob rest. Stop throwing out films and shit for him. But anyway, nonetheless, so I think the snake, I think his name's Gary. Kind of looks like Gary too, the snail. Now that I think of it. But anyway, so obviously from the trailers and stuff, those are these reptilians who have been kind of buried underneath or brushed aside, which I definitely found interesting because there was like not really any of that in the first one. The first film, it was mainly just mammals, between carnivores and herbivores, and that's kind of it. No omnivores or birds or reptilians or any of the other shit. There's like, oh man, there's three shots of the deal or buck. There's obviously the first shot of him or whatever. Uh, Jerry, I think that's what his name was. Jimmy, Jerry, something with a J, which I find interesting because my name starts with a J. Jonathan. But anyway, so Karen, I don't know what she is. I was gonna say skunk, but I'm like, no, she would be way smaller. Some I'm not too sure what kind of predator she is, whatever. But like how she does like the Homer Bart Simpson chokehold kind of thing. And then there's like another scene where Judy and Nick, they're like, because they're chasing a criminal, right? And they're zipping over, and it cuts to the dude just, I don't know, smiling and waving, I guess, at an intersection, and then the passenger, the same whatever, just does the same goddamn thing. And he's like, I don't know, eating something or whatever. And he's like, I don't know, he's like, I don't know, he has like some avocado or some shit, guacamole, I don't know. And she just does the chokehold again. And then they go to like this big Judy and Nick. They break into like this big fancy mansion party thing, whatever. And I don't think it's the same buck, whatever, but just happens to be one of the other deer, whatever. He's like a waiter or some shit. He's just walking by, and he has like, I don't know, a plate of champagne or whatever. A flat tray of just champagne, just walking by, and everything. So those are like the only three scenes of deer and everything. So basically, right, hurry and get to the plot here and stuff. So the basic plot is that there's these reptilians here and everything, and the snake, Gary, whatever, right, he's trying to. I really like Gary, honestly, or whatever his name is, something. But anyway, the snake guy, he's just trying to do what he can, and he's, getting what he can so that his family, and his people, can, be equals again and like Zootopia, whatever. It's more so of like like uncovering a literal dark truth and everything. And I really like the history with what they went in with this because what it's about is that it's basically, actually I don't want to spoil it too much, whatever, give the full thing, whatever, but basically I did like the story of the reptilians and how they kind of, started everything, and then it turns out these cats, this big corporation, I guess snow leopard or something. I don't know what kind of specific feel. I know it's something feline, something cat, something meow, but I don't know. I want to say snow leopard, but I don't think that fully. There's something snow, winter cats or whatever. I'm not really a cat person, so I don't really know. I'm a deer person, okay? I don't know cats that much. I know canines more than felines, honestly. But anyway, so I did like the main villain and everything. but Patrick Warburton as a stallion was kind of, goofy. Like, okay, whatever. I was kind of like thinking for a small bit that, like, what if he's the main villain? Like, what if that's the case in Zootopia? Like, whoever's the mayor is just bad luck or some shit. You know. Um, Another element that I did like is I did like how we went outside the city. I really liked that. Sure, we could have explored a bit more in the city, but we already kind of saw that. There's this new like swamp dogs district, and I liked how we actually we kind of went sort of underwater, and we explored the secret reptilian areas. I really liked that. That kind of area. They go into like this because Nick and Judy, right? So basically, they're following the beaver around and everything. And I did like there's like this swamp deck area of like the more sea type animals like whales, dolphins. The more sea type stuff. Although fish are still food, but the more of like a currency as well on that side, which I just find utterly hilarious, honestly. And there's like this one scene where Nick is like trying to like be polite or communicate to this jester dolphin or something, right? This jester sea lion or something, whatever, right? And the beaver's like, pointing out, no, no, and stuff, don't say that, don't give him this, kind of deal. I find it kind of hilarious how fish are just straight up a currency. Like it's food, but it's also currency. It reminds me of Rango in a sense. That film that came out a while ago, Rango, well, water is like a holy thing, but it's also like a money currency thing, but it's also a drink. Like the many tiers of it and everything. And when they went over and kind of talked to the guy, because there's like this special kind of book, right? There's a special book that only reptilians can apparently see, which I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess. I don't know if that's actually true or not, or whatever, but like there's like a secret ingrained thing through, I guess heat or whatever, and the snake guy could only see it or whatever, so, kind of had to go through that. It kind of reminded me of like C3PO back in, Star Wars 9, the, the Rise of the Rise of Skywalker. Well, C3PO found the MacGuffin, that knife thing, whatever, and how he was like, I know what it says, but I can't say it unless we do A and B for me to transfer some da 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 because it's Sith language. I don't think that was kind of as bad as that, but it was kind of like, okay, I guess, because I'm like thinking, couldn't it just be the same with Annie or whatever, like Judy or just whoever, or does it? I'm not sure why it has to be the snake, but I kind of digress on that. Um, I really liked there's another twist in this, actually a twist villain or twist antagonist that I really liked, because we have the snow leopards. I don't know how else to really call them, but there's this main dad character, this main father character that I really liked. You can definitely see that he's the antagonist, but there's this little rookie guy, and Judy actually bumps into him at like the gala, like and the My Little Pony gala per se, in a sense. Well, everything's all high class, fancy and shit and everything. And I felt that twist was pretty good. It was definitely a lot better because I wasn't expecting him personally to be, the main, one of the main villains. I kept thinking it was the snake. I was too hard on the damn snake, honestly, because he's sweet and everything. But like I kept thinking that it was the snake, that did it and everything, or the snake that's the main bad guy and stuff. But like no, it was this young kitty leopard, whatever. You folks know you'll get what I'm talking about if you've seen the film, whatever, where he kind of joins along with them and everything. I felt that was pretty good because I personally was not expecting that because he kept making it seem, and sure, I guess you could have seen it before and back in Zootopia 1 with Bellwether, but I didn't really like the twist in Bellwether. It just felt it just felt kind of like a little bit of a cop out, where it was kind of like all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, no, she's the main villain, kind of deal. Whereas with this other twist villain in this new film, I really liked it because because you're kind of with him on it, and he's like as a side character and ally. So it just really it honestly took me by surprise. It's like, oh shit, because he makes it seem like he wants to help out and stuff, and how he wants to, like he's a rebellion against his family, his rich family and shit, and how he feels it's wrong too and everything. Really compelling and stuff. So when he did the backstab, it kind of really took me like off guard. But it was like, oh shit, wow, okay. I wasn't really expecting that and everything. And I really liked the history that they did with this. I found it very interesting. The kind of it doesn't go like a full on. I think it kind of does, but it kind of goes like into a deeper of like in the past of how Zootopia was kind of made and built and everything. And I really liked the premise of that, and I liked how they had to go into the walls of like the old tech and everything. And I did like how there was some of the more outdoors in the more I guess the countryside, if you will, the Badlands and Cyberpunk, if you will, the more countryside of outside the city. There's like there's like the section where Judy and Nick are chasing the snake, and how they run through the swamp dock area or whatever, and how they jump in through this water tube, which I found really damn cool. I really like the chase scenes, in this film. As I think I like this chase scenes better than the first one. But like they go in through this water tube, and I personally really liked it. The this whole water pipe tube section thing. It's not like a whole kind of thing of like a boom 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 boom, kind of thing. Well, it's kind of wide shot. It's more like action packed, and it's like in there and everything, and claustrophobic and shit. So Judy's all swimming through as the speed's kicking in, and so I kind of likes that intense premise, and how Nick looks over, sees those like exit lanes and stuff. So he quickly zips over and opens the door, and how they end up like kind of very far off to like the Greenland side, far off from the city. And then they meet up with these these leopard goats and stuff. I like the film, honestly. The film overall, it's pretty damn good. I liked it. I do feel like the script and the overall writing was a bit safer, honestly, because in the first film, and I really liked the first film, mainly because it was kind of like, more of a divided social kind of thing between herbivores and carnivores, similar to Beastars, in a way, where there's like a whole divided thing of like, the prey and predator and stuff and everything. Whereas with this, it's more of outclassed and stuff. Not even really outclassed, but rather legit covered up, because there's this reptilian city or town that end up getting buried underneath like the snow land and the snow region, and everything. And I personally, I liked the idea. I liked how like during the third act, whatever, they're all like in this wall gate area thing, and how there's like you got like the orange of like the desert and shit, and how on the other side there's the cold icy Arctic area and everything. I really liked that, and I really like, the two characters, and I do like, you know, the different arcs and stuff and everything. The only nitpick is that I wish this would have taken place, like, a month or so later, instead of where they do an Incredibles thing where it's legit right after, like, the next day, whatever, like, because that feels kind of odd, because, yeah, because the thing is, like, with these two different characters, is that Judy, she wants to, like, prove herself even more, on being a cop and everything, and why she can do better or whatever. She just wants to keep proving herself and everything. So she's more focused on this film of just like getting to the case and everything, but has more sympathy and empathy for the snake and everything. Whereas with Nick, so Judy, she's more on like getting the job done, doing what's right and stuff. Whereas with Nick, he's more on the side of like the whole world view. And I really liked and I can see you can see like both points of it, because there's like a point where they have kind of like a conflict with each other, right? They're like literally wanted by the police, and how Judy's like, oh, if we don't do anything, then nothing's gonna change. We need to be the heroes of this. And how Nick counters it, and says, sometimes it's not worth being the hero, or sometimes the world just is what it is, and you can't just jump all in and do the right thing. Even if it's quote the right thing, because it's just the way of the world. And honestly, normally, in a sense of like a human sense, or superheroes, Incredibles, whatever, that would kind of like make less sense, whatever, because we'll all be kind of equals in some sense. But like it makes in the sense of like an animal sense of things, in a way, because it's like it is kind of true, honestly, in the sense of animals and stuff, because Judy, for as a character as she is and everything, she's still extremely vulnerable, because she is just a rabbit at the end of the day. The whole kind of that little Beastars tapping in thing of like the world and everything, and how Nick was like, I just don't want you to get hurt or whatever here and stuff, which I really liked and everything. The film, I hope I'm not blabbering. I know I'm kind of blabbering on and on, but yeah. Overall, this film, I'd say it was pretty good. I definitely liked it. There's some characters that show up again, like the grandfather, the Godfather rat or whatever. The mafia Godfather rat, whatever, that little guy. He shows up again. Um, let's see. Giselle, that sexy antelope pop star. She's all shaking her hips and stuff and everything. That like every furry probably I don't know, simps over or whatever, she's back. It actually kind of took me by surprise when, there's like a scene where they're off in the desert and they're like running over and stuff. They get to the wall and it turns out Giselle's right there, and her henchmen, her tigers, are like behind her with her. It's like, whoa, what? Because it's like, okay, I guess. That really kind of took me by surprise, because I was expecting her just to be, at the city and only the city, and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I definitely have liked this film. Even if it played a bit safer and everything, this film it was pretty good. I like the chemistry of Judy and Nick. I like how we actually see Nick's place. It's like at the beginning, and he's like, it's like Judy's like relaxing for a bit, just chilling, whatever, until she hears something on the news, which I liked how we tapped more into that. There's like this wolf reporter who, like, the sideline reporter, like he's not just at the station or whatever, like with the moose and the actual snow leopard. I think that's her name, or Linus or whatever, but like how there's this wolf character who's like on the scene behind whatever, and he explains everything, and how Judy discovers something through how she discovers through the news camera and stuff and everything of the news reporter, and how she starts just digging in, googling shit. I kind of liked that. There's Zugo and FurTube or something, where we first see the conspiracy beaver, and just looking up stuff and everything. I kind of liked that little gag and shit and everything. I kind of liked that. And now she's trying to tell Nick all this stuff and everything, and Nick is legit just slouched over on his couch. He's got like, I don't know, freaking candy and shit, soda, whatever. and how he's just like, and it just mutes the TV. Like he's just being like a slouch. Like he's just like, okay, whatever. Like we'll worry about it later, kind of deal. While Judy's like legit sniffing out everything she can of the clues and stuff. That's kind of another thing I like. I like the whole clue finding thing again with this here. And I did like the references in this. There's like one great scene where, yeah, there's this one great scene where they're going through the chase. I think it's a similar chase I explained earlier, but they go through the two pipes and stuff. There's like a scene earlier during the chase where they zip in through this kitchen area. Yeah, I was at the fancy party, whatever. They zip through this kitchen, and there's this lion who's like trying to finish a dish, whatever, and how his chef hat comes off, and there's like a little rat or mouse, like what like in Ratatouille, legit, I liked that gag. There's also the Disney furry films again with that oh god, oh what's his name? Oh, he was that thief guy thing, whatever, back in like the first film where him and Judy, they go through the little mice city area and stuff, and how he's whatever the hell his name is or something. Oh god, I don't even know what he is, honestly. But yeah, there's that guy again. Yep, there's that guy. There's Nick's little Chihuahua friend, where he gets disguised as like a baby in the beginning and stuff, which I found kind of a gag too, and I found kind of funny. And apparently, there's like a thing of folks saying that the abortion comic is legit canon, which I was just like, maybe. I don't know. That comic's kind of a bit diabolical. The I Will Survive by Borba. Well, basically, it's Judy and Nick having a fight and conflict over getting a baby and Judy wanting to get an abortion of it. Some wild stuff, man. Some wild shit on the internet. But yeah, that's basically all there is to it. I'm just rambling and rambling at this standpoint. But yeah, to get to the overall point and everything, I'm sorry this is so long, but yeah, overall, great film. I really liked the film. The film, was great and everything. I got some chuckles on some funny scenes, and I actually I didn't get a like teary, but I did get got me in the feels though with Judy and Nick. Well, Nick actually got the strength to because like in the beginning, like it was kind of hard for him to express his feelings and stuff, which I'm kind of on the same way. It's really not easy for me to explain or to get my feels out. So I really liked that and everything. The film, it was overall great. I really liked it. I liked how we went into different locations. I liked the conspiracy beaver. I felt that she was fine and everything. I liked her. I liked the different like districts or areas, like especially the swamp area, and I liked the different types of like I was going to say archaeology or whatever, but like the different species and stuff, especially the reptilians. I overall, I like the world building added in this. I like how we went outside the city and everything. There are some like there's there is Bellwether who does make a little cameo. She's like in prison, and Nick goes to prison and stuff. But yeah, that's overall I have to really say and everything. I know I'm just rambling at the standpoint, but yeah. Overall, I really like this film. This film, it's pretty good. I really liked it personally. Everything was great. The song that Giselle, or yeah, I think that's her name. It just makes me think of Giselle from Open Season, where she legit has that big deal booty, like legit, like that's the biggest part of her body is her butt in that film. But like anyway, the Antelope Giselle, whatever, right? The new song that she has called Zoo Ooh Ooh. I didn't really get the vibe of personally, because I'm like, okay, that's fine and all, but you know what? The Try Everything is better than this Zoo song, honestly. But that's just my nitpick and everything. But yeah, what did you folks think of this film? I really liked it. This film is, it was great. I'm glad I went and saw it. It's kind of hard for me to be interested in films now because most of them, or at least a lot of them, I'm kind of uninterested in seeing. But since I'm a legit furry, I know I said that all in the beginning, but I'm a legit furry, folks. There's a reason I became a deer in this. But yeah, anyway, that's basically it for this video. Oh god, this video here. I'm curious to know, what do you folks think of this film? Did you folks like it and everything? Let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video here. I'm sorry this is legit over 30 minutes. Oh god. But it is what it is, I guess. If you folks are curious to check out my new music, I have a music album project that I'm working on and everything, and I have a playlist for stage 1 and stage 0 of my dementia project. It's basically my own, everywhere at the time interpretation and everything, just to kind of change subject and everything, because I have my own music and everything. So if you folks are curious to check that out and everything and to see what, you think of my music, if you folks are ever interested, be sure to check the link down below. I'll have a link down for my music and everything. But yeah, that's basically all there really is to it here for this video here. So with all that being said and out of the way, thank you folks all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you folks don't miss out on a future video or post that I make in the future. And that you can always be kept up to date with the channel here and everything. And lastly, if you have any requests or suggestions that you want me to go ahead and do, feel free to tell me down in the comments below. But anyway, folks, that's basically it as of now. So with all that being said and out of the way, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe for more, and I will see you all sooner or later. Bye-bye, everyone.